Good morning, chickpea.
Hello. Now, like Alien, Fear 2 goes more action than Fear Project Origin. The same way Aliens is an action film with horror, and Alien is a horror film with action, Fear is a horror game with shooting, and Fear 2 is an action game with horror. Now, that needs to be sort of pointed out at the start, because this time it's different. It's a different game in Fear Project Origin. Anyway, you take the role of a named character, he's Sergeant Beckett. Well, apparently he's psychic as well, and has gotten the interest of Alma. Now, this time, it's slightly more carnal. Fear 2 was released in 2009 in February on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and PC, was followed up with a DLC Reborn in August of that year I should say, and once again, Monolith takes developer's duties. And honestly, I like Monolith as a developer. I think they're very underrated. They make some fantastic games.
Stay away from her. She's mine. Beckett.
As always, we're going to go over the story, but not in depth. So the story is more sparse this time, and it's told again while you play and in the intervals. The intervals are sort of playable, and there is actual cutscenes, but most of them you can actually move and do things in, so you're not actually ever losing control of your character. So a nuke got dropped, Alma is horny, and a renegade general wants to kill everyone connected to Armacham using psychic control clones. Yeah, it's pretty much a similar story to the first one, except, Alma's slightly more grown up, and she wants to get pounded like a steak on a butcher board. So yes, the story is more simplified than the first Fear. Fear 2 is more interested in gameplay and action, rather than telling a more compelling narrative. Now, honestly, for me, I actually kind of prefer that, but that is just me. I like a game where it's more about action than having to shout, "Get on with it!" while slamming the X, A or spacebar, whatever button you need to press.
The stadium is a no-go. The streets are completely blocked. Okay.
And that's just something I like, a good action game. I'm not a big fan of lots and lots of cutscenes, especially ones I can't skip. So if you're going into Fear 2 with a mindset you're going to get more Fear Project Origin, you actually might be disappointed here. Now, gameplay is great, again. Why fix what is not broken? Automatic weapons are insanely accurate. Now I think this is more of a kind of a horror than actually a shooter bit, because things like the SMG and the assault rifle are so overpowered because they are just so accurate. Honestly, throughout my gameplay of this, I think it was like 3 times I actually looked down scope and actually used iron sight. But yeah, I was basically far from hit because just how accurate those two guns are. But it does give you a great feeling of power just mowing down enemies. Level design is far more linear. There is no walking around in circles looking for that door you need to go through. But if you do wish to explore, there are little bits of info and pickups you can find. The anime AI seems to be a little bit nerfed somewhat. So here's the thing, they will still flip tables and dive for cover, and they'll do that straight away, but usually they'll charge you straight away until you or they die. Now honestly, this is actually quite fun for a shooter like Fear 2. It gives you a challenge and keeps you on edge, because there's always more than a couple of NPC to deal with. Well, at least in some situations, quite often in fact, I found myself killing a dozen in a single area. Like, you're just mowing these down. It's so much a power fantasy, and that's what makes Fear 2 so good. And it ties into why Alma wants you. You are a badass, and she wants a badass to, you know, fertilize her. God, this game is honestly the ending. I'm not even going to show the ending, but yeah, trust me, it's somewhat disturbing. I wouldn't say it was a horror game, but it's disturbing, alright. The manic gameplay is something I always enjoy. That's a gameplay where I'm just mowing down. It's just so much fun. Fighting loads of NPCs is some of my favourite things I can do in a game. Just so much fun. I enjoy it so much. And Fear 2 does this so well. Look, honestly, half the time I died was literally because I forgot I had health packs. And I was just mowing down these enemies. It was that much fun. Also, you get to pilot a mech. Now, mechs are always fun too. Graphically, it looks pretty good. 14 years on. Age is starting to show in the faces and motion capture, but NPC are the same faceless entity, just in different colours. And the level design actually works really well with the muted colours, and the design really pops, and it kind of shows how dark the story is. So yeah, I really like the look of it. It's quite good, and I enjoy it. It's a nice, oppressive atmosphere. It looks good, and it looks oppressive, and I love it. It's not as dark as Fear, which is a great thing. So Fear 2 is a good game. It's great, in fact. Shooting is tight, it looks good, and overall joy to play. Though I can see why fans of the first game would see Fear 2 lacking. Fear Project Origin is a horror game with shooting, which is what I've said. This means atmosphere is far more important. Fear 2 is a shooting game with horror, so being a power fantasy is probably the more important part, and atmosphere can take a back seat. Now, atmosphere can highlight what sort of stories it's trying to tell. Is it trying to tell a scary one, a lively one? Atmosphere can do that, and it does that. Now, something like the dynamic lighting, when you're just blasting away at loads of enemies, especially, you're not going to worry too much about it. So yeah, comparing Fear to Fear 2 is kind of a poor thing to do, because they're two different games. It's like comparing Alien to Aliens. Yes, one is a sequel to the other, but they're both different genres. Like, and to even show you how different the genre is, like the speed the enemy has changed. Like, you are a badass. In Fear, they were saying things like flank him, you know, and stuff like that. In Fear 2, it's about how many of the squad are left and needing backup. You know, but you're actually putting fear in these guys. It's fantastic. Fear 2 is worth playing today. It's cheap as you can make it. And honestly, like any good sequel should, Fear 2 plays on its own. You don't need any knowledge of the first game. You can just dive in, play this fantastic fun game, and you don't have to worry too much about, you know, what's it going to be like to play, or what's the story, because it tells its own story. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Wayland Games, if you're into tabletop war games and all that nonsense, about 20% off. Links down below, as is Forbidden Planet if you like comics. If you like horror, if you watched this, you probably do. There's my comic, which is a horror comic based on Little Red Riding Hood, and she has a big axe. And there is my merchandise, t-shirts, cups, and all the other stuff that everyone else vlogs. So why would I be any different? And of course my Patreon if you wish to give me money, but always treat yourself first. Thank you, bye bye.